Parkland High School, 2700 North Cedar Crest Boulevard, cross streets of Ritter Road and Suncrest Drive, South Whitehall Township, for a shooting.
Received 6286. We got a report that at the A wing by the school buses for multiple gunshot victims.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get down! Down!
The deadline is
You
January 10th.
in orange! You're down!
K6284. This will be for multiple gunshot victims at the A wing by the school buses. No one patient has an abdominal wound.
Racy responding from 22 on Walbert. We'll be staging at North Cedar Crest Boulevard at the entrance of Parkland High School. So the scene is safe.
10-4. So 919.
They told us there was going to be a shooter come into the building, and that we were supposed to do whatever we wanted, whatever we thought we were going to do. We were supposed to do whatever we would have done if that would have really been happening.
Yep. The announcements started coming over the TV, just like it was a typical day. And just like that, we heard noise in the hallway that got our attention that sounded suspicious. So I immediately went to lock the door. And before I even got my hand on the doorknob, there was a gun in my face. And the intruder just pushed the doors and shot me and my student.
We heard gunshots, not sure how many, but we heard them. Immediately closed the door. I was looking for my student. Obviously, I couldn't find him or didn't have time. And then we took shelter in a non-visible place in the room so that we couldn't be seen from the door or the windows. But we could be seen from the windows. That was a concern that my students had. So we hid the best we could. Never went toward the door, never went toward the windows.
As I was retrieving my rifle and my ballistic shield, I notified our communications center and told them there was a shooter in the building, there were casualties, and that I needed every available police and EMS unit to respond to the high school. I'm going to surmise it was within 2 to 3 minutes that the first units were arriving on scene. Your adrenaline's up, you're sweating, your heart's beating, you're breathing heavy, and it's very difficult to try and cover all the angles that you have to look for in order to keep yourself safe, because at that point I'm the only one between the shooter and everyone else in the building, and there were so many different areas to hide in this building, whether it be lockers or classrooms, to be able to check all of those and in a quick manner and hope the person doesn't come up behind you, because you can only look one way at a time, is nerve-wracking. I took the shooter's weapon and notified the outside where that shooter was and that he was no longer a factor. And then I continued on down the B-wing hallway towards the auditorium, because that's where the initial information came from. They said he was in the auditorium. And as I passed victims who were able to speak, I asked them questions as to what the person looked like and where they had gone, and just followed what they were telling me until I ran into other police units who were coming in the building.
It's Ben. Get on the line with 911. Tell them I have one shooter down in B110. B Bravo 110.
When I heard the first rounds, I thought they were coming right towards me. They were like ringing in my ear. I was scared.
Several times there were people or persons who went by the door and jiggle the door handle in order to check whether it was open or not. You know, it was interesting because, you know, there were these experience of long, boring lulls, and then the sudden, oh my God, there's somebody outside the door, which, you know, definitely, you know, heighten your anxiety level a little bit because you're wondering who it can be and what you should do.
And very shortly thereafter, I heard someone shaking the door to see if it was unlocked, and I don't know who that was. I could hear the police going up and down the hall for maybe 20 minutes, and then I was just quietly working, and then I heard the police were coming to clear the rooms, and they came into my room from one of the faculty planning areas.
Yeah. At one point, we had a knock on the door, and he said, you know, state police, anybody in there? And we decided as a group, we didn't know whether or not that was a shooter or if it actually was the state police, so we just stayed quiet. We figured if it was state police, they'd open the door and come in. Nobody ever came in for us. So we were there a little cold for 2.5 hours.
Once there was a rattling at the door and telling us they were state police, but we were told never open the door until they show you who they are. Well, that was kind of hard to do if you couldn't get near the door.
You see your hands, everyone, hands. You guys okay?
Yeah, she's injured.
She's injured?
Yes.
Where's the shooter at?
We don't know.
You don't know? What's he wearing?
We didn't see anything.
We're yelling, get down flat, get on your stomachs, put your hands behind your heads, show us your hands, identify yourselves. So I immediately identified myself as a teacher, said how many students we had, and that we had one wounded individual.
In the main office, we did not see the police until they came to the door looking for the intruder. At that time when they came to the door, there was just it sounded like the door was being pushed open, and they came in, said, hurry up, get out. So at that time you immediately just got out, put your hands up, and ran down the hallway. That's the time that we saw all the police, the SWAT team, all the people that were there. Because in the main office, where there's all walls, no windows that someone could see in where we were, because we were enclosed in there, we did not see a lot of police officers. I saw people on the floor, blood. There's a lot. It seems like at every locker station there was a policeman there with a gun, almost like you felt like it was in your face. And they were yelling, hands up, hurry, hurry, hands up. It was just absolute, felt like a nightmare at the time.
The only thing I would say to the faculty members that weren't there and the experience that we had was that it's very difficult to anticipate your responses until you're actually involved. Because we're told to do certain things, but the reality of the situation is there's so much uncertainty in that real life experience to know what you really are going to do.
Real 4308.
Right to the screen, it's supposedly originated in the auditorium. I haven't found anyone else.
Yeah, you got an extra rifle there?
Got an extra rifle.
Is that the bad guy's rifle?
That's the bad guy's rifle.
You know, what was overwhelming to me the whole time I was in there was like, what if I had 28 kids? You know, it's very strange when you're waiting, because we went through it. We went through let's chit-chat about family. And all of a sudden you realize that you're starting to talk a little bit louder than probably you should be talking amongst three people. So I'm sitting there going, what would it be like if the emotional level was already high of 28 kids in there? And realistically, you know, as unfortunate it might be, when we're in the red alert drills that we have, I think sometimes we need to remind the kids of that, you know, we're really practicing for something that is very, very serious and dangerous.
Probably, I go back from our standpoint, when I look at what the auditors gave us, they said we did, basically our review was a very good review. It was very favorable. Keep the doors locked, lock the building, lock the rooms down. You know, let's focus on the kids. All those were probably, you know, probably the things that we did well at it. We did a very good job at it, but there are things that we can't not overlook. I think that's probably our biggest thing. We have a plan that works now, and just carrying it out and everybody communicating. I think you know, as long as we do that, we'll be fine.
I think the biggest thing is, you know, when we go into the drills, this is something that I've been involved in a lot of these different drills and activities as an administrator. And while not to this extent for a drill, this was still a drill, but yet it was very, very real. So you're going to be in a situation as a teacher where it may seem like a drill to you, or you might not know how real it is depending on your location. If you're in the E wing in our building, something can happen in the A wing, and you won't know if it's real, quote unquote, real or not. But we need everyone to be on the same page and following those procedures to a T, because if you don't, you're jeopardizing your life and the lives of the students you have. And that is nothing that we should be really taken for granted, that everything is okay, and we have to be pretty serious about this. So we practice these drills so that if reality would dictate a situation that is very serious, that we know how to handle it, and we know what to do, we follow through on our protocols, and if we follow our protocols, people are safer. Doesn't mean they're necessarily safe. We don't know that, but they're safer. And if we don't follow those protocols, we open the door to a lot of issues, and it can be as simply as trying to just open the door to see what's going on in the hallway. No, you don't do that. That's not our procedure, and you're jeopardizing the safety of those students and those families. And after, you know, the effects of that can be devastating to us, and it really just jeopardizes your own safety as well. And I think, you know, but the different areas of the building, I was not even 2 wings away and didn't hear what happened. And I had to rely on the facts as they were provided to me, and I had to react. I couldn't second guess, I couldn't go check. That's not my job. And when you're the teacher and you hear that we're in an alert mode, you need to follow those procedures, because there could be a whole lot at play and you might not know it at all. But I'm very impressed with the district in terms of nobody ever wants to be in a situation like this, but you have to give credit to the people that have the forethought to think about, let's be prepared for this incident. You know, be prepared for the unexpected, because some districts aren't doing this. And I tell you what, they're reaching out to us, and they want to know all about it, how we handled it, why we did it, who we communicated with in the community. Because it really is a community of support in a situation like this. And I think that the district is to be commended for having the forethought to really to be well prepared for an incident like this. And I know for all the teachers and the students, I feel pretty comforted knowing that we are prepared and we know what to do. And we have plans, we've actually executed them, and we've learned from them, and we've done it better the next time. Not that we ever want to execute those plans. We're prepared, and it's good. It's good to be a part of a district that works that far ahead of the game.